Video released Friday, recorded by a San Francisco police officer's body camera, shows a door opening on a bizarre scene.
How you doing?
Paul Pelosi, in pajamas, alongside another man, both holding onto a hammer.
Drop the hammer. Nope.
Spies are not wanting the public to know that you guys are doing directed evolution.
Bro, what's going on here? It kind of looks like an interview. I don't know, it's freaking me out. I mean, these like flashbacks to that like sting organization of like those conservative people who like randomly go into organizations and then like befriend people who work in these organizations and then report them, which happened to people at Pfizer. So it like freaks me out when people start asking a lot of questions about work. It's so great.
Really? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, this video has been taken down by YouTube, by the way. So the video that's got 20 plus million views on Twitter has been yanked down because of what? Fifis? Fifis? You're not allowed to record gay black dudes in a restaurant? Is that legal now? Is that illegal? Or is it because Pfizer dumps a lot of money into YouTube, so YouTube's got to protect themselves?
And the whole point is Congress will provide some oversight. Adam Schiff has never provided any oversight of the intel community. He is its pawn, its tool. He is working out his political agenda with the help of the intelligence agencies. You are not allowed to do that as the ranking member on the House Intel Committee. The whole thing's insane, and nobody ever says that.
And Priscilla, I'm being told by our control room, I'm not sure if this is exactly true at this point, the protesters are trying to shut down a bridge.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Tom. We're here on 55 North. We were coming up on one side of the lanes, and we just saw protesters jump over to the other side, so they are looking to shut down both lanes of traffic here on this very busy bridge.
Rita, amazing story here about the police who killed Tyre Nichols. This is white supremacy racism at work.
Well, according not just to CNN, but all sorts of other pundits, race-baiting pundits, there is nothing that won't fit into white supremacy. So here you've got 5 black police officers behaving horrendously. There's footage of this that is just absolutely shocking in what they did to this poor man. And yet, instead of looking at their behaviour, looking at perhaps the police training, these individuals, no, this is systematic racism, white supremacy responsible for this.
This is why you should never trust anything on the internet. Because this lady is not real, she was created using artificial intelligence, her natural face, voice and lips are all artificially generated. And some have even mentioned they are 92% sure OnlyFans will be dominated by AI girls in the next few years, replacing real women.
Welcome to Burn Babylon Burn. This is not a news show. It's an opinion show. We encourage you to do your own research. We do not give financial, legal, medical, or any kind of advice. Now enjoy the show.
Welcome to Burn Babylon Burn, episode 39. Joining me today is Mud and Austin, and it seems the word of the week is hidden video, or I guess not necessarily hidden video, but video leaks. A lot of videos leaked out. Most of them happened late last week, like Thursday, Friday. It seemed like they timed everything for Friday in some weird way, with especially with the Paul Pelosi hammer video and the released footage of the cops beating the ever-living crap out of Tyre Nichols. That was brutal, and wow. It seems that Australian news seems to have a little bit more of an objective view on things. They tend to say, hey, yeah, everything's racism now. Whenever it's not about that anymore. It's, you know, it's a guy. From everything that I've seen on this guy, it looks like he didn't do anything, or anything to warrant an ass whooping like that. But you know, but yeah, they definitely gave him one. What do you guys think?
Well, first off, I would say let's just hammer out that first topic, because I think that's That's one that for me, I think it's still tied into the political race war because that's what they're turning it into. So I'd like to have a conversation about just exactly what's going on in that atmosphere. Because to me, that what they did to him doesn't make any sense. They went over the board. They should be arrested. They should take jail time because that whenever we're talking about police brutality, that is the level of going over the board. But then again, I don't think you should have rights over it. I think you should actually just have people taken to jail. It's not an opportunity to go loot the next door, the Walgreens next door, etc.
Right. From what I've seen so far, I haven't seen any. I mean, there's definitely been people acting criminal in these protests and whatnot, but for the most part, they have been pretty calm. The No Agenda guys were pointing out that it seems that all of these protests had pre-manufactured signs and were spearheaded by a communist group. So I highly encourage Sunday's episode of No Agenda. It was really good, so check that out. But so I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Is that you, Austin?
It probably is.
Mute your mic in between talking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mute your.
Yeah. I got you. Yeah. So the on the tier. Golly, I can't remember his last name, so I'm drawing a blank here. My first podcast ever, so I'm super nervous. And my ADD
Tier
brain
Nichols.
is going 100 miles. Tier Nichols.
I mean,
Tier
or Tyree.
I spent about an hour watching all the body cam footage and the like that street cam or whatever. I mean, it's just disgusting what they did to that guy, and it's like it really doesn't make any sense with what the information that we have right now. I think I've seen a couple of things on the Blaze network that have indicated like maybe he was with one of the dude's girlfriends or something. So something stupid like that. It's still not a good reason to whoop somebody's. I mean, kill a man with blunt force trauma.
I think that one of the things that's gonna go out in that trial is whether they intended to kill him or not. Because from what I've heard, he died a couple of days later, right? He didn't die immediately after the whooping.
That's my.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how long it took.
So I don't think that it was an intentional kill, but it was an intentional bring to the brink of, and that I mean that's just my opinion. I don't know what was going through those guys' heads. I've never beaten somebody like that, so I have no idea what they were thinking. They may have been just filled with rage and felt like they could get away with it, but they're obviously not going to get away with it.
Well, for me, my one caveat that I would say is don't resist arrest. It's a stupid idea to resist arrest. So if you're going to be resisting arrest, it just don't do it. Just back down. That does not create an excuse for the attitude and the way that they beat him up with. And so, in my opinion, there obviously needs to be more police training, but also there needs to. I personally think that people need to be taught in schools, like junior high school, what needs to be done during the course of an arrest. So there's two sides to the coin. I'm not creating an excuse for the person that got killed. I'm just saying, you do need to know what happens whenever police ask you to subdue. But obviously, the police overreacted exceedingly large in this.
That's what I was going to say. So like the guy was struggling to get away because his life was actually on the line at that point. It seems as if you're getting beaten to the point of critical injury or death, then I really don't blame him for resisting the arrest in that case, because it could have been a life or death matter at that point. It wasn't like I don't think he was resisting arrest and they were just they're just beating on him further. It was like he was like, oh wait, these guys are going to kill me, so I'm going to take whatever fighting chance that I have. And that's what it looked like to me, at least from viewing the video. Like I said, I don't know what was going on in anyone's head. And I don't know what the media is going to make out of this. I know that they have a huge agenda with the police, and like, this is going to be us in a few months. Like, really, it's not that far away. They're already banning pistol braces, and and they're going to turn the state inward on people. So this is where we're headed as far as what's called anarcho-tyranny. Look that up, do some research on it. It's not a good thing. And bringing race into this all the time is ridiculous. White people get beat up and killed by the police as well. You can look up the statistics on it. It happens quite often. And and this is a thing that they're brewing up in order to come after regular people. So, which he probably was, as far as what I've seen. It seems like the guy was just taking pictures and going home to his mom's. That's what it sounds like to me. And I mean, reckless driving is serious, but it also is an excuse and subjective. So I didn't see how he was driving, so I don't know about that either. But go ahead, guys.
Well, I was just gonna point out this. I think it's ridiculous how the media is painting this. You got 5 black guys that beat to death another black guy, and somehow it's still white supremacy. How does that work? Like, what kind of mental jujitsu do you have to perform on yourself to make that fit inside of your own head? That just seems completely ridiculous. I mean, it's a terrible enough situation that it happened. And to Makoa, your point, I do think it has a lot to do with lack of training. But something about this whole situation is fishy. I think that this is a personal vendetta. Like, one of these guys had a grudge against that man, and they took the opportunity, and they thought that they could get away with it. I mean, just the beating that they laid out on that guy. I mean, it is one of the most disgusting things that I've ever watched. Truly, truly horrific.
Well, first off, stop dead naming me. My name's Mud.
Yeah. Mud. My name is Mud.
But no, I definitely agree with your point of view. What happened was there's police training that goes over the board, but then again, there's a chance that some intercourse. What's the word I'm looking for, guys? Interrelational type thing.
It's
like
not intercourse.
Somebody knew someone, and they created an attack. Personal.
Vendetta.
There we go. The personal vendetta. So there's a chance that there was a personal vendetta, but I've watched Steven Crowder long enough. He points out this a lot of times, that there's a lot of lack in the police training overall, and how to actually deal with situations. How to de-escalate situations is another area. Like, I like listening to Scott Adams every day, and that's one thing that he mentioned specifically about this was figuring out there should be a de-escalation training course inside of the police academy, and how to actually de-escalate this type of situation. So I think there was definitely errors on the police side. I mean, sure, you don't need to resist arrest. That's the other side of things. Never resist arrest. It's just a bad idea.
I don't know about that.
If you're fighting for your life, then then you have better odds of escaping in some scenarios if it seems like their intention is to kill or maim you. And I think that's probably what he sussed out and thought, okay, yeah, these guys are going to kill me, so I got to get out of here. And yeah, it
seems pretty obvious.
Yeah.
We have body
the
cam footage of
language
this.
right from the beginning is what indicates to me that there was prejudgment going on there. I mean, this guy doesn't, from what I can tell, I have not been able to find anything about a criminal record on this guy. So, I mean, they wouldn't have known him from the streets. And like the organization that they were a part of, what was it, Scorpions, something, it's like some specific criminal task force. So, like, it doesn't make any sense that they would go after somebody without a criminal record just for reckless driving. Why not leave that to the regular beat cops?
Well, I think it was originally regular beat cops, and then they called in those guys for whatever reason. There's definitely something else going on here. But then again, it's no excuse to block a freeway. We gotta deliver stuff. If y'all want stuff in your stores, please stop blocking the freeway. That drives me crazy. Like, there's got to be 100 other ways to get your point made, but blocking the freeway is not one of them. And sure, it worked historically in other communist protests, and that's really what it is. It's like they're taking the heritage of the civil rights movement and bringing it out in these things, and going, oh well, we blocked the roads in Selma, so we got to block the roads now. The thing is, the police are the ones that offended you. Deal with the police, and or the courts or justice system or whatever is the actual issue, and stop taking it out on truck drivers. I mean, really, we got to get you guys stuff. And I know that 90% of those people at those protests do not have their fridge stocked for months and months. So they really rely on us getting things places.
How do you actually make change? That's the question. And inside of seeing police brutality, which I fully agree, this is a level of police brutality. How do you actually make change happen? It's not by blocking the freeways. That doesn't actually get the message across. I like the idea of targeting the school systems and saying, hey, like actually teach a course on what you're supposed to do if you get pulled over, how you're supposed to operate yourself when you get pulled over. That's one way to try to address this. I don't know. I know the civilian side. I don't know the police side, and I've never been in the police department, etc. So I don't know what type of training that needs to be implemented on that side. But that's part of what needs to happen, is that we need to actually, at least in my opinion, we need to better educate kids on what you're supposed to do when you get pulled over, what's supposed to happen. Because when I was raised up, that's not something I was ever taught. I had to learn that as part of the process. And to me, that seems like a loophole in the whole situation.
Well, I want to just add this in real quick, that training is all well and good. We can talk about the police need better training until we're blue in the face, but there's the big push on the left for defunding the police, right? Defund the police. That'll show them. And even in this situation, what did they do? They disbanded the Scorpion unit, whatever. That's not gonna solve the issue. I mean, I actually think that generally speaking, what the city of Memphis, their response to this has been typically pretty good. It seems like there is going to be justice for this guy. Those guys are not going to get away with this. But when you decrease the police presence in a city, there is there's an equal amount of crime increase when you decrease police presence. You see that in Democrat cities all across America. I mean, I live in Birmingham, and thankfully, I think we've got a fairly decent police department. But the criminal justice system is completely screwed up. I mean, we're putting people in prison for ridiculous reasons. I'm just, I don't know. I'm getting off on a tangent a little bit here.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit tired.
Some of the cases of this, it's they either let people out too early, or they put people that don't belong in there too long anyway. So So it seems like there's not real justice because there isn't. And so, like the story I heard of the guy who got out and reoffended by murdering and doing other brutal things to a woman, that guy, he's been in prison all his life, comes out and goes and offends again. I think this was his third one. It was a guy in Ohio. I just saw it on Twitter yesterday. And when you see stories like that, that there's some people that just need to, I mean, that the guy probably did not ever need to see the light of day again. But then there's people that they get for, cultivating a plant and trading, selling, whatever they do with it. Or, like what's about to happen to a lot of us and taking us in on pistol braces, or what happened to Randy Weaver, or just sawing things off like a half inch too short or so. There's really no justice, and I think it gets worse, and I think that the defund agenda is part of that. It's in the way of the police will no longer be protecting us and be protecting the people that are making this whole situation worse. You saw how the police were whenever they see a guy strike a representative's husband with a hammer in that other video, and so the cops just subdued the guy. He had a hammer. If he had a knife, they would have lit him up, because for some reason cops are super afraid of knives. If the last thing you want to do is pull a knife on a cop, you will have probably 200 holes in you in like 30 seconds. So but yeah, it's a weird system, but they're going to protect those at the top, and they're going to let us deal with the entire criminal element here at the bottom, and that's a pretty scary place to be.
And this is just a very small side note, and I don't want to get off into a Jordan Peterson discussion, but just my side note, specifically for what you're talking about with that guy that got released and went out and killed other people. It's crazy that they're derailing somebody like Jordan Peterson that actually gets the psychology on a deeper level. I know that you, Andy, disagree with him on certain aspects, but whenever we have a competent psychiatrist that's completely being derailed by he's being essentially sued by the Canadian Board of Psychiatrists, because he's actually making something work. He's the only psychiatrist I've ever heard of that's gained notoriety, and he's actually making waves on actually getting their lives back together, etc. And so it seems like they're essentially attacking people that are trying to bring the society together in such a way of a mental competence on a higher level. They're attacking the people that are actually trying to get people to work together and operate together and get each other to understand each other. They're attacking that guy, and then as they're attacking that guy, they're rioting because of what that guy's philosophy could fix. I'm not as eloquent because it's a newer idea that I'm trying to build on, but I'd like to get your guys' input on that.
Well, his entire... Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think, Jordan Peterson is primarily attacked for two main reasons, which is that he goes against feminism, and he goes against the queer theory stuff. He's not the type of person that's going to just, I think he's, in his own words, he's like, you might have control over a lot of things in my life, but you don't have control over my tongue. I have control over that. And, that's the primary reason. I mean, at the end of the day, yes, he stands for truth in a lot of ways. I find that very, very few things that I actually disagree with Jordan Peterson on. And I know damn well that if I ever tried to argue with him, I would lose. He's a really, really smart guy. And yeah, he does. If more people listen to guys like him, I'll put it more specifically, if more young men follow Jordan Peterson rather than following it, guys like Andrew Tate, we'd probably have been in a better position.
Well, he spent his entire career being attacked by the ADL, and then he decided to serve them by trying to push for to ban online anonymity, which has been one of their major tenets online for a very long time, and so he's made some terrible bedfellows with the people that have been calling him a transphobe and a Nazi his entire career. He's a soft man. He cries at the drop of a hat. He's not like he's not necessarily a male role model, but he's not a degenerate like Tate. But he's still I think he's cool. There's a bunch of things about him that I think are cool. It's just that the crying stuff and the serving the ADL stuff is not cool with me, and especially because he kind of betrayed us. He betrayed the trolls. He betrayed the trolls, and I don't think that that's very cool, because his enemy his entire career pretty much has been this group. So this group has been coming after him, trying to get him kicked out of his universities, trying to get him kicked out of everything, and calling him a Nazi. He's not even close to a Nazi, and it's just ridiculous. And yeah, that's what bothers me about him, is that he really shouldn't have done that. I've covered this probably like 4 or 5 times on the show, though, and it's not even one of our topics. If you got anything else, do it now, and then we can move on.
My specific point is in regards to mental health and actually working and helping people. Is they're trying to sue the guy that's done the most in psychiatric help to actually help solve these types of issues on men being men, and specifically men having purpose. And that, to me, that's the thing that most resonated with me from Jordan Peterson. One of the ones that really hit me hard was don't let that snake turn into a dragon. He had a 1 to 2 hour. I'm pretty sure Austin's listened to this before, that specific topic that he did on. Don't let, if you ignore the snake, it turns into a dragon. And that seems to be what we're dealing with in the society. And that's why I said, I know that, Andy, you have disagreements with him on certain things. And that's not what I'm trying to push into the disagreements. My point is highlighting the depravity, in essence, that we have, because men don't really have that many father figures to look up to. They don't have people that are pulling them up. And it's amazing that whenever you have one man that's pulling everybody up, all of a sudden people are trying to tear that guy down as fast as they can. And I agree with you, on the point you made. But on all the other stuff, they're not trying to drag him down for that. They're trying to drag him down for the, men being men. Stand up straight with your shoulders back. Clean up your bedroom, stuff like that. They're trying to drag him down for that, because it's almost like they're scared of men being men. But when men aren't men, then men create chaos. Men are powerful animals. And to me, that ties into this story that we've been talking about, because if there's education, if people actually care about each other and coach each other and build each other up, we wouldn't see this type of stuff happening. But instead, we just see the entire culture collapsing, because people don't care about each other. They don't want to talk to each other and build each other up. Offline, I talk to both of you guys sometimes several hours a week, and we're building each other up. And there's so many people that actually don't have that happen in their lives. And I think that's part of the bigger picture of what the problem is. But unless you guys have any other points on that.
Okay. Real quick about the men not being men and that causing chaos. And that is exactly part of the agenda that's going on right now. I had a pretty in-depth conversation with Tunes a couple of weeks ago about manhood, and there's the idea is to cause chaos, because that's the cracks. That's what communists like to stick their fingers in and pull open, so they make cracks in society that way, and that's why a lot of the stuff that we're seeing right now is attributed to fatherless behavior, and so this is a thing that's going on in all of these places, and it's why I admire Austin, who I just met recently. He's taking care of a sizable family, and yeah, I'm impressed by that. I'm sure that you have some more to say on that. Go ahead, Austin.
Well, maybe not specifically on the raising the kids subject, because I mean, I do what I can do, but I can do more, and you know, I definitely have struggled with finding my place in the world as a man, and I mean, having children has helped me um, learn more and more about that. But you know, one of the things that's been jumping into my mind as we're talking about all this is you know, I mean, the new world order, those people, that 1% at the top who are actively trying to make slaves of us. And you know, one thing that you find throughout slaveholding uh, cultures throughout history is, like, I think a couple of things. I mean, more than just a couple of things, but I'll touch on a couple of things. One thing would be the feminization of the population. When I think about, like, the book of Exodus in the Bible, and you know, the leading up to the enslavement of the of the of the of the Jews, kind of going into that, you know, the Pharaoh wanted to kill all of the males and have more of the females, because they're, you know, they're easier to manipulate, at least because, you know, through sheer brute force. And you don't have a lot of if you don't have a lot of strong men, then they won't rise up and revolt against you. But then there's also just, you know, causing confusion. Dumb people are easier to control. So, you know, for years, I mean, for decades at this point, we've had an infiltration of our universities and our schools. And, you know, some of it's probably on purpose. Some of it's probably just a natural consequence of certain ideas being placed into society. But you know, that's the trickle down. That's, I think, the main institution that's caused this, just the dumbing down of everybody. And technology has made people more and more stupid. And not just that, we have a consumerist society, and everybody lives off of instant gratification. There's, like, when people don't build generational wealth because they're only concerned about themselves. There's no.
Oh, we lost your audio.
Oh, he came back.
Yeah, that's my headset is dying. I don't know what I'm gonna do. I got the other one charging right now, so maybe I'll just have to leapfrog.
Okay. Yeah.
But with that, I pass.
You're right though. That it is like that. Go ahead.
I was just saying to Austin, I think your headset's dead, but you're coming across just fine on your iPhone.
Transferring from that to instant gratification, the TikTok thing. So Shifty Shift, he's the guy who was on the Senate Intelligence Committee or House Intelligence Committee, and made that great TikTok video directly after. I know that you guys both have something to say on that. I'm kind of like mad about the inner workings of, like, the backstabbery and you know, winner take all kind of fun stuff that goes on in Congress. It's just kind of like whenever something affects my life, I'm more interested in it. But I've never liked Shift, and I've never liked Swalwell. But it's nice to see those guys out. But what's going on with this TikTok video, and what are your thoughts on it?
Austin first.
Oh, he's switching his headset, so you go first.
Well, I'm good. It happens pretty fast. So I don't have much to say because I don't actually even know what TikTok video you're talking about. I don't have TikTok because I'm not a 17-year-old girl.
Same.
Or a middle-aged white woman. So, you Yeah, I don't
So
know, but I don't like Adam Schiff or that other Chinese spy fucking idiot either.
well said, well said. So for one thing, there's several interesting things about this story. One of them is he got kicked off the intelligence community. First thing he does is he goes to TikTok. Whenever we're dealing with TikTok, we found out earlier this week that TikTok has a fire button. The people in charge of TikTok have a fire button. They can hit that fire button. I'm pretty sure that's what it's called. They can hit that button and they can make that video go viral. So the first thing Adam Schiff does, got the name right. I'm not messing up the name. It was Adam Schiff, right?
Shifty Shift. Yep.
Shifty Shift, Adam Schiff. The first thing he does after he gets knocked off the intelligence community is he goes onto TikTok, where the entire thing is funded by the Chinese. The Chinese government, to be specific, controls the entire thing. And they have a button that they can press to make any video they want go viral. So he goes onto that platform and that video starts going viral. That is insider trading. If I've not seen it, there's no way to get around it. That's insider trading. That's what it is. He's literally getting boosted by the Chinese government in order to gain notoriety. So, and in the video, he specifically says, hey, donate here so you can help fight against this crap. This, he essentially says you can help fight against the MAGA Republicans or the Trump Republicans, however you want to put it, the populists. He specifically says that inside the video. So he's trying to gain that type of notoriety off of that video. And they probably just hit that fire button that just made that video go viral, because it would not have gone viral. It's nothing. But he got a boost in my mind because the Chinese government said, that's good for us. It's somebody on the inside. To me, that's the next level of the government, of foreign governments interfering with our government. That's just my thoughts on that specifically.
Yeah, the Chinese connection's pretty interesting on TikTok, and why that they would be working with the guys on the intelligence committee. That really does seem, I wouldn't call it insider trading, but it is kind of it's definitely a security issue, especially if they're doing he's doing their bidding in some capacity. Swalwell probably is too, because he got a little bit of the great kind of quid pro quo kind of thing with Ping Pang. But yeah, all the social media apps though have some kind of button to increase engagement, and I thought it was pretty interesting with the Project Veritas video coming out over the last few days, and that getting 30 million views, I believe, is the current count on Twitter, and then getting deplatformed by YouTube and getting pinned to the top on Rumble. So it does kind of work both ways in a way, because there are groups that will kind of promote this thing. I feel like there's something fishy with this video. Maybe that they're setting up James O'Keefe so that they can come in and turn it into some kind of disinformation, and that this guy was just kind of fed to them. I mean, first of all, he's prime bait for James O'Keefe, because he's a gay guy that's surfing Grindr, and so James O'Keefe is definitely uses his team to troll Grindr to find people that work for these pharma companies. And then he just starts spilling the beans super hard, just really, really spilling them. And he even knew what Veritas was, and he was still spilling the beans like crazy. And then and then the directed evolution part no, they were like, well, directed evolution's not gain of function. And sure, yeah, you can play all these semantics games and everything like that. The point is that Pfizer, in this case, sort of admitted that they've made a whole ton of money off of this virus, and that they intend to make more. And they don't care about you. Pharma companies don't care about you. Trust me. And they haven't. It's not a new phenomenon. The thing that especially gets me out of the monkeypox thing that was last year's big crazy thing is that they were predating on the gays with the monkeypox thing, and they had already destroyed them in the 80s with AIDS. It seems like that is their favorite target group for what they're doing. But you know what? Those guys go and get their boosters, and they go and get their monkeypox shots, and you know it's kind of like, can you even take up for them at that point? Because it's like, well, they really set themselves up to get taken advantage of by big pharma. They've never really recognized that it was the AZT the whole damn time, and that Fauci is Fauci is a madman. Anyway, I'm sure you guys have thoughts on this.
Because I went AWOL for a minute there. My connection completely lost it for a minute. I had to log back into the stream. So yeah, I mean, just kind of to further reiterate a little bit your point, and just to go a step further, the left eats its own. Every single group that they claim to be a champion of are the targets of their bad policy. And we can't call it monkeypox anymore. It's actually mpox.
Pox, yeah. But every communist revolution, like you said, though, every communist revolution in history, just millions died every single time. So yeah, you're right. They eat their own. They're willing to break those eggs, and I guess the eggs are gay in this case. But continue.
Yes, gay and brown people are the primary attack for that side. I mean, right wingers and like conservatives, we take like the outward attack, the verbal attack, but none of us are really buying into the bull crap that they are selling, And so yeah, a lot of the policies affect us as well, especially on the tax front, and I mean in the schools and the separation of us from our children that is actively happening with critical race theory and gender theory, things like that coming into play in the school systems. Oh gosh, where was I going with that? You know what? To quote Michael Scott of The Office, sometimes I start a sentence and even I don't know where it's going. But yeah, no, I mean they really do eat their own, and but the one thing that the left has that the right really needs to get on board with, and I know this wasn't on the agenda to talk about, but it really makes me sad that this crap with Steven Crowder has gone down the way that it's gone, because that was something that I really appreciated about a lot of these more right-wing news outlets and shows, podcasters that I'd listened to, is that there was some cohesion amongst certain members of them. I thought, especially with Crowder and the Daily Wire, I would have been really excited to see Steven Crowder on the Daily Wire. But yeah, no, the left at least, even despite eating their own, has some sort of cohesion. Like there's something that binds them together that makes them a million times more effective than the conservatives and the libertarians and whatever. The rest of the righties. And with that, I pass.
So my point on that specifically, I don't want to go down the Steven Crowder route and the Daily Wire route for this specific reason.
Fair enough.
Inside of the conservative movement and inside of it's not just conservative, but conservative and libertarianism, we create things, and it's not art that we put on a building and we charge $500,000 for some freaking, I'll say, dumbass architecture for the Martin Luther King memorial of him hugging his wife. That's not what we create. We create bigger things. We create better things.
You mean to tell me that wasn't a wiener?
It was a bigger, better wiener.
Disembodied hand holding a disembodied penis.
It kind of looked like poop as well. So let's put it that way. It was a cross between a turd dick and yeah.
We can just call it a sausage. It's a very large sculpture of a sausage.
And whatever you want to call it, it's definitely
it's a very large sculpture of an amazing hot dog that you're supposed to put in a bun with ketchup and mustard. That's what it was.
All right.
Not the way I was trying to go with that. Austin, I hate you for that comment.
Well, it's really funny. We were talking about gay stuff, and you immediately brought up Steven Crowder.
Yeah.
Recompose.
Okay. Hey, maybe I'm being a communist here. I'm seeing you cracking, and I'm just like trying to pull it open. And oh wait, that sounds really gay too. Anyway, let's talk about straight stuff. Let's talk about artificially intelligent porn.
No. There's a
Not
point
yet?
to be made. There's a point to be made on the previous. The point. It's actually the act of creation. It's actually going out there and choosing to do something. I've dealt with way too many people in the past, and it ties back into these riots that are happening. We just want to break shit, for example. That's what those rioters are doing. We just want to break shit as a protest rather than fix the problem. There's way too many people that choose the easy way out rather than choosing to do the hard thing, which is actually to solve the issue. And that's what I'm seeing with this culture. And I guarantee, and I like for the next topic, I want to be the Veritas video. That's what I want the next topic to be on, because that's part of this. This
Keep
whole
going.
situation is we need to solve the issue, not complain about it, not create riots over it, because that's not what Republicans / libertarians do. Republicans or libertarians do. We actually go in and we solve these issues. Let's actually fix this problem. And it takes us actually putting our willpower towards it rather than just simply complain, actually do something. Because I'm pretty sure Andy, you raised your hand. I know. Yeah, you go, Andy.
Well, it's all controlled, and most of this stuff happens because they have lobbyists, and maybe the money is not so well spent to have this crazy mega network that seems to be all on the same page about certain things, because we actually get a pretty decent reach these days as far as on the podcatchers and everything like that. And we're just some dudes with a headset and a cell phone. It's not like, it's not like we have anything close to the amount of Daily Wire Crowder money or any of these people's money. We don't have any of that. I have not made a cent off of the show. I spend money on this show. I love doing it, so I do it. But the whole thing is, we don't really necessarily need to have conservative networks to have the conservative CNN, the conservative, this or that. What we need is to buy people. We need to buy lobbyists and get that kind of thing to grease the wheels of our situations, because that is what's working on the other side. The corporations are making sure that our lives are a living hell because they have purchased lobbyists and they purchased the people that are supposedly representing you on both sides, and they're making your life a living hell. They're taking your rights away, and there is going to be chaos in the streets. There's going to be grocery stores running out of food. There's going to be basically a control grid that keeps you within 15 minutes of your home, if you even have a real home. They're gonna try to make us eat bugs. I mean, all of this stuff is legit. You can start digging on it, and you will find that all of this stuff is true. This is not just some crazy thing. And you know what? It's what happens is money is the thing. But as far as independent media goes, stay independent. You don't necessarily have to take a vow of poverty. People like what you do. The money might start to flow. By the way, I've got a buy me a coffee link if you find it there in the libertylinks.io/the Doom Kitchen. You can find out how to buy me a coffee if you like what I do. If you don't, it doesn't matter. Like I'm still gonna do the show. You can't shut me up. So there's that. But yeah, buying politicians is really kind of the way to go. Anyway, go on. I know you guys have some stuff.
I've got
Awesome.
something. It's my turn. I don't need your permission, bitch. So yeah, I mean, while we're on the subject of how to fix things, I think one thing that I found about most conservatives, at least just like of a certain age, and just most people aren't willing to have hard conversations. There's this idea that, you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about religion. Well, guess what? The other side doesn't subscribe to that. They talk about their politics, they talk about their religion, their self-religion, whether that's, satanic, whatever, which Satanism essentially is just worship of yourself. So is atheism, to a degree. So is agnosticism. But, they talk about it. They share their ideas. They are dominant at this point. They don't have to be afraid to share their ideas. It takes a certain level of courage to share, the conservative viewpoint. Even like for me, living in Alabama, you would think, oh, super red state, you can talk about whatever you want to talk about. You'd be surprised at how many people shut me down, especially people who lean more right, but don't really want to have an opinion, or they take more of like the libertarian stance, which you do what you do it over there, don't involve me. But that's not the agenda of the left. They are pushing more and more and more into our lives, and the more ground we give, the less control over those things that we're going to have. But on the subject of of making things better, I think one thing that we need to do is encourage people to talk about it. Encourage, have the hard conversations. I don't give a crap if I'm branded as, racist, a bigot, this, that, and the other. Like, I've come from a really dark place, just the pure darkness of the atheistic mind, which is what I was for a long time. Um, I mean, I this is weird to talk about. Maybe I don't know if you guys really get personal very much, but before 2016, I suffered from full-on Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, I was pretty bought into the leftist mentality up until really not that long ago. And it wasn't hard, even in the state of Alabama, to talk about that kind of stuff. And you could argue vehemently for that kind of stuff, but it's insanity. It's not that hard to argue insanity because you make sense to yourself, but you're not making sense to anybody else. So.
Exactly. And that's part of that derangement syndrome, to where you always think you're right. And that's part of the area that I feel like leftists, let me rephrase that. I feel like people that have to follow their own track of thinking, they have to always be right, can't communicate with other people. Whereas people like us, we can actually have a conversation. Me and Austin and Andy were both having disagreements on the conversation for 2 hours before we got on this stream. But that's part of actually being an adult. is actually being able to have disagreements and learning from each other. It's a
Well,
building
the difference,
process.
Makoa, is that I am right and you're wrong.
If I broke somebody's eardrums, I'm sorry. But yes. But that's the way my mom acts. That's the way my dad acts. And that's the way your uncle acts probably. I have the right opinion. And that's not the way to move forward. It's if you have that way that you always say, I have the only right way to move forward, you never learn. And you're stuck inside of a little circle. And that's what brings us to the Pfizer video. Because I think the Pfizer video is the climax of that opinion.
Yeah,
Can you connect that, Andy?
just one real quick little thing, if I may. I don't think that the "I'm right and you are wrong" mentality is something strictly doled out to the left. And actually, I think if you and I both, Makoa, are being completely honest, we tend to exhibit some of those traits a lot of the times. I just wanted to throw that out there.
The point is we can still have a discussion about it. We can still have a discussion about it. We can actually talk. Whereas the guy, the gay guy in the video with
James
O'Keefe with something.
Project Veritas.
Veritas, there we go. The gay guy in the video with Veritas, he just straight up lied. We can have a me
He didn't lie.
We can
wait. He claimed that he was lying. He had this huge long conversation, and I think that he was actually like feeding. I think he was feeding this to us for a reason, because he can discredit it later. They're doing it in other ways. Wait. They're doing it in other ways right now. With they wheeled out Damar Hamlin the other day and said, "Look, he's still alive. All you crazy conspiracy theorists are just crazy." And I don't know what happened to him, but in a way, they're doing this with the discrediting. You can watch Stu Peters embarrass himself in ways beyond, by sitting there saying that Damar's dead, and that he won't trust that that's Damar until he's whether he is a clone or it goes even that far with Stu Peters. Whether it is or not, they're going to use that to discredit us. And Stu Peters has done a lot to lose credibility whenever he's got a lot of really cool information. He brings a lot of cool information, and then he brings it over the top. And so there's that, and I can't think of the other one right now off the top of my head. But I think that that's what's going on here with the Veritas video. I think that they set it up on purpose. They were like, okay, well, you go on Grindr, and then you're prime bait for O'Keefe, and the guy just fed him the lines that he was supposed to feed him. So that's my theory on it. It also, I know that Pfizer is looking to do as much as they can to profit, and they don't care about it. I already said that, but go ahead.
I know. So I don't disagree with you at all. My point to Austin is there's a difference between people that are willing to have a conversation and people that have to be right. I'm hoping that I can talk to my dad tomorrow. It's his birthday tomorrow. He claims that he's a Republican and he won't talk to me because I voted for Trump. That's somebody, Trump derangement syndrome, etc.
He also thinks Gavin Newsom should be president.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, he does. And so
that's not a Republican.
I know. But my point is there's a difference between people that I can actually have a conversation and disagree with each other, and people that can actually have a conversation and build towards something. The question is, are you trying to build towards something, or are you blaming other people for your problems? I don't think you, Austin, are blaming other people for your problems. I'm not blaming other people.
But I did for a long time.
But when
what
did
Austin
you get out
does,
of
I already see it. He knows that this gets your goat, and so he picks on you that way. So he does the "I'm right, you're wrong" stuff to you all the time. Whenever really he is your friend, and he's gonna be willing to play along with whatever you're talking about. I don't think that I have a debate show. This is not a debate show. This is, hey, we give our opinions and everything like that. Sometimes we might agree, sometimes we might disagree, but we're not fighting. I'm not trying to have one of those kinds of shows where it's just, pundits yelling at each other, because that's those shows are terrible, and I hate the debate me shows. Debate me, bro. And I that's one of the reasons I don't like Little Ben, is because he goes and he wins the debate against a 20-year-old socialist college student, and and then he gets all the brags for it. It's like, okay, yeah, anybody could beat a 20-year-old college student. He won't talk to somebody like Anomaly, who will give you many reasonable things over and over again. And Shapiro can't debate somebody like that, but he can definitely debate one of those little college pros.
Exactly.
Yeah, this might be an unpopular opinion, but I actually think out of like the Daily Wire crew, probably the best debater, like an actual debater, is probably Matt Walsh.
I don't think I've seen him in action, but yeah.
Not a woman.
You should watch What is a Woman.
Okay. I've seen a lot of the clips from it, but yeah, I'll check it out at some point. I hardly watch anything. I mean, like, really, I'm processing most things from podcasts out of the wire. I'm not wired in like you guys are.
My whole point is that whenever we're dealing with the Republican or libertarian side of things, the populist side of things, we actually can have conversations. We're not walking in lockstep. We're actually having a conversation, and we can actually disagree with each other on certain points. And that's what's fun about it, because we can disagree and we can move forward and we can actually learn from each other. Whereas people that are in lockstep, that's what creates chaos in the community around us. That's why California has all these homeless people pooping on the streets. I cleaned up my language there. Look.
Yeah, well, to provide an
you don't have
example for exactly what you said, like, I didn't listen to the Daily Wire or Steven Crowder before I met you. Like, a lot of the political, and I watch more than just that. Those are the primary ones, though, with the exception. I don't know if I'm going to go back to watching Crowder. I'm honestly super disappointed in that dude. But the only reason I even ever really got super into politics is because of like my relationship with you. You got me super into it, and that was after my awakening from the Trump derangement syndrome. I started realizing, I kind of like that guy. And then I started hanging out with you a lot more, and we got into those conversations, and that's why I think I'm so adamant that, like, if we're going to fix this, we have to be willing to have these hard conversations with people. And, like, it's cool if you want to disagree with me, if you want to argue and yell at me. You know what? I know this isn't a debate show, but I love it. I don't care. I will fight tooth and nail if I'm right, and I've done my research and I know that I'm correct on a certain point. I will argue tooth and nail, especially against somebody who's like right on the cusp of having, the right perspective on things. And I don't mean right as in politically right. I mean like correct. Because there is right and wrong. Objective morality.
I'm going to tie up some loose ends real quick. I remembered what other fake video came out this week. There was a clip of Biden talking to his son Hunter, and it was an obvious impression. So there's that, and so they're trying to get us. So you can see that they're laying out little traps. On Media Monarchy, he talks about that a lot. If you check out New World Next Week last week, that gets that. And then the other thing was more on the lines of the lobbyist thing. I would say a good 90% of politicians claim to be Christian, and none of us are holding them to that. And that's
that's the part that bothers me, is because if they were in there acting like Christians, then we would not be living within the agenda of the Antichrist right now. I mean, that's basically what we're living through right now. They're trying to turn our world into a prison, and they're trying to create hell on earth. And if these people were actually Christian, then it would be a different story. So don't fall for these people. Most of them are lying. Most of them serve the other guy, and that's what we need to pay attention to, and try to get real Christians, people that really believe in Jesus, to be in the place that of power in this country, because America is quickly losing its status as a Christian nation.
Before Austin reacts, because I know he has something to say, that's a separate podcast. What you just said, I agree. That's a separate podcast. Let's close it out with the Veritas video. Let's spend 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, I thought we've already been touching on the Veritas
we've
video.
touched.
I thought we were going to move on to AI porn.
No,
Yes,
we're
are.
not. No,
Yeah.
we're not going to end
Yeah.
on AI porn.
Makoa, you're outnumbered.
That can be part of the depravity. That can be part of the depravity. We'll do another video called Burn Babylon Burn, the depravity of the US.
Allow me to offer my final opinion on what we were just talking about, specifically going back to the Christian, like losing our Christian identity as a whole, as a country. We are seeing the consequences of those actions now. And I would even argue like we've already lost our Christian identity. I'm of the opinion that most professing Christians aren't really Christians. Full disclosure, I'm more of a Calvinist. So I do believe that there is a certain way that you should behave as a Christian. And I mean, even if you like, everybody's got sin in their life, but I mean, even those of us who struggle with certain things, I'm not going to talk about my particular thorn in the flesh here, but there's something that I struggle with in particular. And while I don't sit here and judge other people for their own stuff, I recognize that it's wrong. And we don't really have that. There are plenty of people out there that claim to be Christian, but they're perfectly happy living in their carnality. They're perfectly happy being what's the word I'm looking for? Pacified with easy sex and meaningless relationships, and we're throwaway. People are throwaway. We've seen a drastic decrease in religion, and not just Christian religion, but just religion in general. And as we've seen that decline in religion, at least in the conventional sense, you see an equal rise in like suicidal ideation and crime and depravity. So that's about all I got to say about that. I don't think we're a Christian nation anymore. I really don't. When you have the president of the United States can claim to be a Catholic, a devout Catholic, but at the same time be a champion of LGBT issues and abortion. Yeah, dude. Yeah, like you should be excommunicated. That is a tool. That's a tool for your own good. You should be excommunicated. You need to know what it feels like to live outside of the church. And if he's not already been, he should be.
I don't want to come off as extremely anti-Catholic, because I love a lot of Catholics and get along with them all very well. I think the Vatican is super corrupt, though. But I think that Catholics should be holding these Catholic posers accountable, because a lot of people say that they're Catholic as if it's a race. And they're like, I was born Italian, so I'm Catholic or whatever. You get that a ton, and they don't represent any of it. They just do their penance or whatever, and then they're able to or not, but they're able to still commune and everything like that. I don't know exactly which church I fit into at this point, but I know it's not that one. I know what I'm not. I don't know what I am yet. I'm still figuring that out. This is, I'm going to say it. It's a journey, and and I'm only a little bit into it.
You're Southern Baptist.
That's me. We're trying to get Andy over that point. Well, I feel like this has been Burn, Babylon, Burn, episode 39.
No.
I think we look forward to talking to you soon.
No, so we're talking about sin and depravity, and I want to talk to all those coomers out there that you guys are about to be enjoying artificial intelligence, and it's obvious that dead eyes don't bother you, so it won't matter that they have dead eyes because they had them in the first place. The cam girls have given these AI bots so much data that you couldn't possibly fathom it. So the amount of data that they have, it's going to be better, and thoughts will now have to make an honest living. So those thoughts out there, you will have to make an honest living. You might have to even get a husband, and things could turn around. And the sex trafficking might come to an end due to this. I really hope
in
so.
Jesus'
I don't
name.
think.
I declare that in Jesus' name. No more sex trafficking.
And I agree. I amen. But I don't think that that's the agenda of the powerful. The powerful still want to exploit these young women sexually, and that's definitely on their agenda. They also want to take the men who see this product and consume it. The coomer consumer, they want those guys to continue in their cycles because it's a destructive cycle, and they want that to continue. So I really don't think the human element is going to be removed, although it could be and should be. And this could be like one of the only real benefits of artificial intelligence. I did make the theme song with artificial intelligence, so I will admit it has uses, and I've seen some cool stuff done with art. It's really cool that the things that people are coming up with, and I don't hate it, but I do hate the robo revolution, and I really hate the dehumanization and the transhumanism and everything. I'm just sitting in that in that weird little marginal area just because I know that this is going to be a part of our lives in some capacity, and trust me, I will do everything I can do to reject this stuff, but it's going to be hard. Hey, somebody want to make a cool theme song for me so I don't have to partake in the robo revolution? What do you guys think?
Work on it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. This is Austin's next job, next project. Austin's going to figure this out. I feel like in the last 10 minutes, we've spun out like 3 different podcasts that we're doing. So I think this is the end of this one. This has been Burn, Babylon, Burn, episode 39. We look forward to talking to you guys again soon. And I think this is a great team. God bless and grace be with you.
God bless everybody. And here's those robots clicking away. Enjoy it. It took me like 15 minutes. No, it actually, I spent a little bit of time coming up with this. But anyway, yeah. Rock on, everybody.
Guys,
love you all.
Thanks for letting me come and join y'all. This has been a really, really cool experience.
You're welcome, man. I enjoyed having you on.
Join us again, Austin. This has been great. That's why we have disagreements, because that's what the fun part of it is.
Yeah, I agree.
In a world where so much of the music has become audible garbage, there is an artist trying to make all that better. From the artist who gave you Truth Be Told.
Andy, do you have a closing thing? I don't know what the closing thing is.
Comes the ultimate album, Contumacy by Phytophilia. 6 months in the making, it will make your feet step in the right direction. On January 2nd, 2023, Let this album bring you comfort in knowing that you are not alone in a world dominated by government-funded propaganda.
Awesome. Just hang on here. We can just talk
From
and
those
chat
who
for
seek to
like
make
10
you
minutes.
an all-out slave to their greed, corruption, and abuses. Contumacy will be available on major streaming platforms starting January 22nd, 2023.
Awesome. Just hang on for a second.